Hey guys, hopefully this is all working. I have no idea. Hang on, let me just check. I can see it on the stream, hopefully. Well, it still says back in 5 minutes for me, but I guess it's a little bit behind. Oh, I can actually hear that. Hang on, let's just pause that. There we go. So we're going to be rerouting this board. Someone commented, let's find out who it was actually. Someone commented on my video the other day. Actually, it was today. And they said, you've done something wrong with your LEDs. And I had on the word clock video, on the LED clock video that I had up. A little embarrassing, really. I've made LED matrices before. And who was it that mentioned it? Let's see. Stephen Slevin said, you've connected your column of LEDs in series. And I had absolutely done that. So I can show you what they should look like. Is this a schematic? There's a schematic. So this is the schematic for the LED matrix. I don't know if you can see it. It should be behind me somewhere. It's back there, sort of flashing away a little bit. And I'd routed this board here, and I'd done it correctly. And then I routed this one, and I'd connected all of these LEDs in series because I forgot that you had to jump around like that. And I knew that. I knew it. I was just sort of getting carried away. So I know how to do it, and now I'm just going to fix that. So we're going to go through and fix everything that I messed up. So this board is, if you didn't watch the video the other day, then this is an LED clock, essentially. It's going to be an analog clock with 60 LEDs around the outside, 60 on the inside, and 12 on the inside of that. So the hours are on the inside, then you've got minutes, and then you've got seconds, which will move a lot faster on the outside. So that's a grand total of 132 LEDs, which is a fair amount of LEDs for sort of an amateur's board. And I am an amateur at this, so you'll see me make loads of mistakes. I've already made one when putting this together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in parallel, not in series. So I'm just going to connect all of these up, which is going to make my routing a bit more difficult. And so you'll see that I've torn up every signal that I had on the board already. And look at this lovely little crosshatch pattern. I don't know if anyone's here is from the UK, but when I was a kid, we used to do this thing called maypole dancing. I grew up in a village, a small village, and we did maypole dancing. And you'd run around this pole, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 kids or something, and you'd all have this ribbon. And you'd go in this pattern in and out, and it would create this crosshatched pattern on the maypole. There's probably a better word for it, or even a word for it other than crosshatch, but I mean, it looks quite nice, doesn't it? It looks like a spirograph type deal. But it's going to make the routing a lot... I don't know if it's going to be more difficult. It's certainly going to be different than it was before. So we're just going to go through and connect all of these up. And then we're going to see what happens. Someone commented earlier, and I'm not even sure why, but who was it? It was Kurt Chash 4 said, by the way, David, I'm going to keep track of how many times you say auto router. Then I'm going to find someone local who can thump you upside the head that amount of times. Well, is it because auto router isn't how you meant to say it? Or is it because auto router isn't the right term? Or is it router? I'm not sure. It says auto router there. To me, it's a route, a sort of way of getting somewhere, but it might be a route. Maybe it's that. So someone will have to tell me whether that is incorrect or not. Well, you'll need to tell me why auto router is wrong. Well, it is. You're right. It is terrible at routing something so complex, but it is interesting to see what decisions it makes, and it also does. You know, sometimes you'll think something's impossible, as I did. I thought, let's let the auto router have a go. And if it can do it, then I'm pretty darn sure that I can do it because I make better choices. So if it can do it, then I'm happy to keep plugging away until I manage to do it. So I'm going to just keep doing this. If you guys have got any questions, actually, I've got some news. Did I tweet that picture? Let's have a look. I'm going to see if I did. Oh no, I did. I tweeted a picture earlier of a couple of things I'd received in the post. And you may have seen, but one of them's the BBC microbit. Now this is being sent out to 1 million kids today. I think it was started being distributed today. 1 million 7-year-olds or year 7s. I think it's 7-year-olds. Now it's a little microcontroller board which I haven't even taken out the box yet. And it's the BBC's newest addition to its sort of educational computing arm. A long time ago, probably around 30 years, maybe a little bit more, about 30 years ago though, the BBC released the BBC Acorn, and it was a fantastic machine. It's what I learnt compute on when I was a kid. I learnt programming on there in a very basic way. It was, well, it literally was basic, but we learnt how to use something called logo programming, which was it was also called Turtle Graphics. It was a visual system for moving a character around the screen. So you would say forward 10, left 5, and then you would put it in a loop and repeat it, and you'd create, well, spirograph patterns actually is similar to that. But we had a little robot connected to it, and so it would go around the floor, or you could put a pen in there and it would draw the shape that you drew on the screen. So it was a really interesting way of doing it. Later on we had Acorn Archimedes computers, and then I think just as I was going into 6th form, we had PCs, but we had Acorn Archimedes computers for a long time. I think we had PCs with, well, there were thin clients actually, so they ran off a server. What were they still Acorn Archimedes? They could have been, but they actually had internet access through. Was it Netscape? It might have been Netscape. It was a very long time ago. I think I have actually got my my ground planes on the board. Well, when you say on the board, do you mean there's somewhere here? Do you mean using these polygons to set a signal on the ground plane? Because that's what those bits are, if that's what you mean, Ash. I'm going to call you Ash. Hopefully that's okay. Anyway, back to the computing thing. So the BBC Micro was my first computer, the BBC Acorn, the first computer I ever used at school. And I really, really loved it. And I've still got a fondness for it now. I certainly have an interest in BASIC. I have a Commodore PET, and I remembered how to use that from when I was at school. Or at least I remembered how to do things in BASIC. Nothing more complex than hello world, kind of print 10 kind of thing, 20 go to 10, that kind of repetition thing. But I'm really excited about being sent it by the BBC to review or to create things with. That's the idea, that they want to create a little bit more of a buzz about it. So they contacted me, but I think it's because I put a load of little clues around social media that I was interested in one. So anyone who was tweeting about the microbit, I sort of replied and said, "Oh, I can't wait to pick one up. When are they going to be for sale to the general public?" And instead, I was sort of kind of hoping they might pick up on that and see that I was interested. So they did send me one. A guy called Sam from the BBC contacted me. Oh, this is going out of view. Contacted me and said, "I would really love you to review one of these." And I was like, "Really? That's amazing. Why did you pick me?" But he didn't pick me because of all the social media breadcrumbs I'd left, just because he'd picked up on my YouTube thing, I think, and saw that I was interested in computing. So what am I doing here? Oh yeah, I'm still connecting all of these. Does anyone... Oh. Well, that shouldn't be there. Cancel. Does anyone know an easy way of remembering, and this is going to be embarrassing because does anyone have an easy way, like a a rhyme or something for remembering which one's the anode or the cathode of an LED. I'm pretty sure, as I remember it, the anode is the positive and the cathode is the negative. But because I'm going to be doing these videos on the BBC Microbit, it'd be really nice if there was like a child-friendly way of remembering. Because I want to show them. I know that the long lead is the positive lead and the short one is the negative, and that's an easy way of visually identifying. But it'd be really nice if there was sort of a rhyme or something someone had learnt when they did electronics. I never did electronics at school. It was a really new one, a really new thing to education at the time was design and technology. In fact, we did do some kind of electronics. I think we made a circuit board at one point. I think it was in an acid bath, I believe we did it, but I don't think mine ever worked. It wasn't exactly very familiar to anybody, even my tutors at the time, I believe. I was more into welding and brazing, so I made this. It was like a wind ornament. So I'd got a few bike wheels, and they still had all the spokes and the rim on and everything, and I welded these, or brazed actually. It's not really welding, is it? It's a different kind of reaction. But I brazed. Let's leave that for now. I brazed these little sort of like fins, I guess. Blades maybe is a better description. Blades onto the outside of these things, and I hoped that it would turn in the wind. But what I hadn't anticipated was when I welded, brazed the bolts on the side of the wheels. When I raised those to the pole that it was going to be attached to, first I didn't think about stability because it wobbled all over the place. But I sort of burnt out all the oil in the bearings, so this thing did not move. It was pretty much solid. No matter how much oil I tried to put back into those bearings, any grease that I put in there, it was pretty much a failure. I tell you what though, it did look pretty good. I was very happy with it, but it just didn't work. So that was disappointing. But we're talking, God, the 90s. It was, well, early 90s. 94 when I did that. Is that right? I'm not sure. My memory is truly awful. Oh, I like that. Beginner's tech. That's a good tip. The anode has an A, and that means plus. So I guess you could say the plus is, you could just say plus is longer than minus, and so the anode is the long leg and the cathode is the short leg. So that's good. I like that. Two things work together there. That's nice. Ooh, that's not connecting right. There we go. So I imagine this is a little bit boring for most of you, but I will tell you about some other stuff that's going on. So a company called Form Futura contacted me. Well, actually, that's not quite accurate. I contacted one of their suppliers. I saw this company called Dutch Filaments, and this is a 3D printer thing. And I thought, I'll contact them and find out if they have any filaments that are pretty matte once they're printed. Now, I know that most filaments will end up with a bit of a sheen on them, or at least all of the ones that I've tested so far. But some of them, like the carbon filament from Protopasta, will actually end up being relatively matte, even without any kind of finishing on at all. And so I thought I'd contact them and find out if they had anything similar. And they told me quite quickly that they weren't a consumer company, so they only sold business to business kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's embarrassing. Sorry. I told them where I'd found their company, which was on this review of 3D printing filaments. And they said, well, actually, we've got this company called Form Futura, and we make filament for them. Maybe you'd be interested in working with them. So about a week later, I got an email from Form Futura saying, "Hey, it'd be great to work with you. What do you like doing? We like that you're integrating electronics, beginner, like maker, hobby kind of electronics with 3D printing." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. This is the kind of stuff I wanted to do." And I gave them my super secret list of stuff that I'm working on. And they said, "Okay, well, what kind of materials do you want to try out?" And I said, "Okay, well, these are the ones I want to try out, these few materials." After a little bit more of a conversation about what printer I had, and I asked them a bit more about their company and about their sort of ethos. And they have sent me 2 reels of filament. So that's 2 kilograms of filament and a kilogram of this selection of filaments. So it's like their little off the reel type bits. And some of it's wood fill, which is a filament with a fair amount of wood fibres in. I think it's 40% wood fibres. I'd have to confirm that, I'm not sure. And they also sent me one called HD glass. Now this is, it allows 90% of light to transfer through it. Now I thought that was going to be a little bit of sort of fluff marketing, but honestly I've looked at this stuff and it's very, very clear, so I'm impressed. And I'm looking forward to printing some stuff with it. I think I'm going to do a lot of illuminated projects. So I think that's going to be cool. I'm not making use really of this TLC 5940. I mean, there are 7 pins not being used there. Oh no, 6 pins not being used there. Oh, Rota, am I saying your name correctly? I'm not sure. Pins 1 and 11. You are correct. That doesn't look quite right. Let's just do it again. Are they incorrect? Oh yeah, it wasn't connected, was it? There we go. That looks correct now. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Well, thank you anyway. Whatever your name might actually be. Let's call you RFZ. That's your new name. So that's them all hooked up that way. Let's get the anodes connected. Now, how was I doing this? I'll just start this side first. Whoops. Let's just cancel. Always confuses me when it gives me 2 options there, because I think I'm just going to choose the first one. I'm never quite sure what that means. Does it mean N7 is the one that I have and N35 is the one that's going to? I suppose N7 is one of the first tracks I put down, so N7 I'm connecting to, I guess. That sort of makes sense. So we'll connect to N9, yeah. That does make sense, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. So I know some of you watching will be making things yourselves. So if you've got anything you're working on, you're prepared to share, then I would love to hear about it. And perhaps we can all talk about it at the same time. But for now, I'll continue with the 3D printing stuff I was talking about. I've done loads of cool stuff recently, and I've just started designing a few things myself. A lot of the stuff I've done more recently has been just printing things out from Thingiverse and getting used to 3D printing and figuring out, well, that's not very neat, and figuring out what the best settings are for the printer that I have. Whether the printer that I have is actually enough for me, which it isn't. I need to get a new one. But also sort of figuring out how to finish objects, what's about overhang, where should I do supports. Occasionally I use the auto-generated support thing. Hey Eric. But I like to figure out how to put supports in myself. Oftentimes you'll find that a slicer I use FlashForge. Let me show it to you. Cortana, show it to me. There we go. So I use this flash print software, which is really, really nice. But it can be a bit overzealous with supports. Let me throw one in there so you can have a look. and see what it's going to try and put supports in on. What's this? Oh no, this one I did myself. So this one was for the that volume control knob that I made. I made a 3D printed little case for it to make it a bit easier. I mean, it's a bit rubbish. This was one of the first things that I 3D printed. There must be a different thing in here. Let's try this one. Okay, well that's on the board incorrectly. Never mind. Anyway, trust me, it makes poor decisions, just like the auto router does on here. It makes poor decisions with supports. So I try not to use it. But sometimes, if you've got a really complex model, it's really hard to put the supports in yourself. Sometimes it's impossible to put small supports in there. It won't let you do it. So the auto support generation thing can do it for you, and then you can just delete the ones you don't want. So what am I missing here? Have we got anything else to do? I suppose I could connect up VCC and everything. Let's do that. Let's just go straight from here. Now I haven't double checked to make sure all my connections are meant to be going around here, and really I should, in fact, let's do it properly while we're here. We might as well, so let's just bring that out. I could separate these out a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to, because there's a lot on this one, so let's bring this away. So we're just going to mess around with some of these, because I mean that's just a little bit ugly. There we go, that's a little better. And then if we put that there, and that there, and we'll name that SCL, and we'll name this one SDA. Not connected. Reset, I can't remember what to do with that yet, so we'll look at that in a minute. And then we can put these down here. And we want to call that SDA. Oh, what have I just typed in there? That was the wrong thing. I haven't typed anything good. So name. And we want to connect them together. So this name function that I'm using, name property that I'm using here, what it does, it sort of automatically says this signal here should be the same as the other signal. So I've got SCL and SDA here, and I've got SDA and SCL there. It just means that I don't need to connect these with these wires or these what are they called? Nets. I just call them wires because that's what they look like. So I don't need to connect those myself. So if I jump back in here, you can see that they're already connected to the 2 pins over there. So if I were to put a wire in, I think I'm going to have to use a lot thinner wires than this, or tracks rather. Also, it's going to have to go on the bottom of the board unless I move my chip, which I could do. Yeah, I could do that. Let's try that. That would actually work a lot better because then I can take power from there. Every time I route a track, I try and click rat's nest so that I can see it. So, I mean, I could just, let's do that actually. Let's just take these away so that we can see the tracks as we're going, rather than clicking on the rat's nest tool every single time. So that is ground. Oh no, that's the battery connection. This one's there. Okay, so we want. Sometimes it's really hard to select these. You really have to zoom in. I know there's one there. There we go. So that goes to that side, and this one goes there. I can't see. It's very difficult to see. So let's bring that out a little bit and we'll connect that up. And we'll do the same with this one. And we'll try and follow the track a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. We don't even need to follow it at all. It's all personal preference. I just think it looks a little bit nicer. It gives you a little bit more room to move around. And if you need to go on the other side of the board to sort of bridge this, or well, not bridge, but bypass, then you can do it in the shortest possible route if they're quite close together. Now, I may end up changing the track widths here. So and do you know, I might need to pull up on SDA and SCL. I haven't really thought about that. We can look at that later. It's not really a big deal. I've got some 0603. Is it 0603? I believe it is. Or no, 0803 resistors. So they're very small. So they can 0805, 0805, 0603, 0805 resistors. So they're quite diddy. So they can go there somewhere. And then we've got this one here. So I think we are going to be using that size track. We're not handling a lot of current over these, so it doesn't really matter. And I think when it comes to bunging these LEDs together, then we will need to use these smaller tracks, because, God, look at that. Because it's in a circle, it's really hard to get these looking good. I mean, it just looks a bit funny, doesn't it? Look, I have to tilt my head to see whether it's all right. Oh, Ash, you are mean. I had already tried the spaghetti soup option. It didn't work out great for me, I have to admit. We're going to jump back up to, was it 4? Yeah, for power. Just because it's not going to be carrying much. I mean, it'd still work in... what's going on here? I want that one. It'll still work with those smaller wires. This thing's going to be drawing 20 milliamps at peak, maybe. I think probably less than that, really. It's no beer tonight, but this has got this whiskey. This whiskey, no, it's coffee. It's not just whiskey, but this coffee does have a touch of whiskey in it. It's my new favourite thing. Oh, so I wanted to ask you guys actually, and I didn't really want to do a whole big video on it. 3D printing, right? I know some of you don't like it because people have been clicking like the thumbs down thing on videos, so I know some of you don't like it, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is I've decided that I will, for every video that I do with 3D printing involved, I'm going to put 3D printed or 3D printing at the start of the video so that it's very clear that you don't need to watch it if you don't like 3D printing. But if you do like 3D printing, or if you can see yourself liking it in the future, then I'd love to know what kind of things you'd like to see. I've got loads of projects that I want to do, but it would be great if I could somehow join the two together so that I'm doing something that you want to see as well, but also something that I enjoy. So right now, have I got it up here? I don't think it is up here, but I can show you a little bit of it. So this is it's going to be a light bulb. I wonder if I've got the other bits. I think they're downstairs. They were being painted. So it's illuminated. Have I got a light or anything on here? I've got my phone. Let's do that. So it's it's meant to be an LED kind of bulb. So you can see there if I just turn that up. So I've got these LEDs that are going to go inside here. And so I 3D printed this hollow bulb, and the base of it is where the electronics go, and the base of it's going to be painted grey, so it looks a bit like metal. But actually I've got some grey filaments, so I might be able to reprint it. But it's going to be USB powered, so it's just like a little toy, desk toy type thing, just like the Commodore PET was a desk toy, really. So I thought I'd do that. And I've got some other projects that are light based, because it's kind of fun to do 3D printing and little LED lights. And I have a ton of LEDs that I've sort of, you know, AliExpress is one of the places I sort of get lost and buy an awful lot of things. So I've bought maybe 500 different types of LEDs. These are quite large footprint ones. I can't remember what the footprint is exactly. Is it 3025 maybe? It rings a bell. But I've got some more here actually that I used in the bulbs. These are warm white ones, and I've got some blue ones. And about 400 more. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. And I've got NeoPixels, and I've got red LEDs, I've got normal green LEDs. I think most of them are SMD actually, because they're quite cheap. But I get carried away on AliExpress buying things. What other signals do we have to route here that are easy? In fact, let's go back to the schematic and make sure we finish this off, because it will be annoying if we don't. So what else do we have over here? We've got VCC there, so let's put that in. I'm just going to read the comments for a second. Sorry if I'm quiet. Johan, you're right. I did sound very low pitched. That's because, and I'll tell you why, I was bringing in my audio at 48 kilohertz. Is it kilohertz? Yeah, it is 48 kilohertz. And I was streaming at 41.1, 44.1, so CD quality. So it was a bit weird. So it made me sound like that, which is a bit odd. But now I fix that. So that's what I was doing when I was meant to be streaming earlier. 3528 sounds about right. You're right, Ashley. Eric said that he likes 3D printing. That's good. Thank you very much. I will continue with it. I just sort of want to know how to approach it, whether it's best to just put them out there without saying 3D printed whatever, or whether it's best to sort of separate these things out. I don't want the channel to just be about me bumbling around with electronics, which is mostly what it is, me like displaying my ineptitude and eventually coming around to some kind of reasonable conclusion. I'd like it to be a bit more of a mixed bag. I think that I'm going to get bored and you will get bored. Well, I certainly will get bored if it's the same thing all the time, because you guys get to see a 5-minute video, whereas I live that for, maybe like 2 days of work or more even. I've got this. I picked up those boost converters. I don't know where they are now. Literally, this place is a mess today. But I picked up those boost converters, and I'll probably end up with a 5-minute video on 4 different types of boost converters and testing their efficiency. But, that video will take me easily a whole weekend or more. So I might get a bit tired of it, but you'll get 5 minutes of a video. So it's harder for you guys to get tired of something. It's easier for me. So I need a little bit of a mix. So I'm going to continue with the 3D printing, but I'll try and make sure it's clear what it is. So yeah, that's what I'd love to know, whether if anyone is getting bored with the 3D printing already, because I know some people didn't like it. But if nobody is, or if no one's prepared to say they are, then I shan't worry about it. Now, I have forgotten where all the connections go on here. I might have to look that up. So S out is for chaining. I don't need to worry about that. S in would be serial in, I guess. Let's bring that up. EPAD, I'm not sure what that is. We'll have to look at the datasheet to find out what goes there. And then we've got serial clock. Okay. I think let's put a USB in there. Eric says he's about at 1 hour per 1 minute of video just to post, process, and upload. Yeah, I think you're probably about right. You get a lot faster at the editing and the audio mixing after a while. So I'm got headphones on so that I don't have to use this thing to connect, which kicks out 48 kilohertz if you're interested, but you can change it if you want to. But this thing's great. I make my videos with this and a little clip-on mic, but mixing it does take a while. So let me just catch up on the comments, because I'm like rambling about stuff now. So Eric says, UPS just dropped off a new roll of ABS for me. Haven't had the printer on it. 8 months, Eric. Wow, that's a long time. Well, I look forward to seeing what you're going to print. I've now got, I've got an awful lot of filament. I've just picked up 4 kilogram rolls and some extra stuff, and I've already got some other rolls. So I've got quite a few now. So, and they're all PLA because my printer won't do ABS. Hopefully that will change at some point in the future. I might start poking some companies to see if they fancy sending me a printer that will do ABS with printer with a heated bed. Or a discounted one. I'm not saying that anyone should give me anything for free. I never expect anything. Dirk says he's not bored with that. I guess I'll be getting 3 printers for review in the next few months. Maybe then. Dirk, that is awesome. Feel free to send me one that can print ABS. I'm kidding. Beginner's Tech says he likes 3D printing videos. He wants 3D printer taking too long to save up the money for. Yeah, I hear you, man. It took me 8 months, something like that, to save up the money. Most of that money, well, in fact, all of that money didn't come from YouTube. All of the money from YouTube gets spent on stupid little things that I buy. So these things, for example, these are PCM 2704s. They were like £8 for 2. They're expensive. And all of the things that go along with it. So I had to buy some capacitors that I couldn't get from anywhere else. They're 1UF multi-layer capacitors. So actually they were difficult to find, but I found someone on eBay that had them. But getting them from Farnell and places like that, which I usually do, is expensive. And so I spend every penny that I get from YouTube on components usually. If I can't get them from China, or if I want them sooner, then I get them from Farnell, and it's pricey. That's Newark, I think, for you American viewers. That's the same thing, or Element. Is it Element 14? I think that's Farnell as well. So yeah, I spend most of my money on that kind of stuff. So the 3D printer had to wait for a long while, even though I wanted one for a very long time. Ash, you've got a laser cutter. That's cool. Honestly, a laser cutter would be awesome, but one of those, those X-Carve things, Eric, I'm looking at you, those look cool. To be able to sort of bung your design in there and get a PCB out at the end, even, single-sided or double-sided, they do both, don't they? So you just have to turn it over. But that is awesome, not having to wait for some kind of lab somewhere to knock your board up for you, or OSH Park to send it out. I mean, I wouldn't use anything other than one of those cheap web services, but being able to do that at home sounds like a really great idea. I think, yeah, you're right, Richard. The cost is a stumbling block. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's not really a secret. I just don't tell people how much it actually costs. But the 3D printer itself was £500. And then I got the 3D printer, it got delivered to me, and then I got a bill from the taxman to say, hey, you've imported this 3D printer, here are the charges. And it was £90. So that was a shock. Because it had arrived, I didn't think there was going to be any import charges, because sometimes they don't charge you, sometimes they just let it go. But on this occasion they saw it, and it was DHL, and they said, look, you owe us this money, we've paid the tax on your behalf. And so I had to pay another £100 roughly. So actually it kind of was £600. And then you've got the filament on top of that, and I ran out of things I wanted to print with blue filament, which came with the printer. It was nice that it did come with it. So I ran out of things I wanted to do with that. So I bought some more. And then I bought some more. And then I bought some more. And then I bought some more. So, you do run out pretty quickly. All right, let's see. Adafruit. There we go. Adafruit has a great Eagle library. And it has loads of little connectors in there. And I think it has the mini USB B in here somewhere. USB connectors, USB mini B. That is not the one I want actually. Is it that one there? Hang on a minute. I'm going to have to check. No, I want the SMD type, so it was that one. I got one just here. I wonder if it will focus on that. Let me see if I can hold it up to the screen. Let's see. Will you focus there? Oh, you will, look. So that is the USB connector that I'm going to be using. I bought a bunch of these from AliExpress. I've already said they're really quite good, and I buy a lot of things. So I've got loads and loads of connectors that I don't need. So I have a lot of these mini USB ones. A cable, you know, that I have less and less of these days. So although I imagine they're quite cheap to pick up, but I would love it if the micro connectors were cheaper, or if eventually the USB Type C. It is Type C, isn't it? Yeah. If the USB Type C would become a little bit cheaper. Honestly, the connectors, let's have a look how much they are. AliExpress USB Type C connector. There we go, we can have a look. So I might not have typed the right thing in there, but you've got, oh, let's call it a socket instead actually, because that's probably better, isn't it? USB type socket. So, I mean, look, that's one. And that's a breadboard adapter. Now I get that, you know, they're new and they're kind of expensive, but let's see if we got any blank ones. There we go, there's 600 pieces for 30 quid. That's okay. I mean, okay, I'm not going to spend that much money because I'm not going to ever use 600, but a smaller amount would be nice. But they're not readily available, it doesn't seem. I mean, there's only 4 pages of results here, and these are old connectors, again, old connectors. That one's mini. Yeah, they're difficult to get hold of. So I'm not going to be using it. I'm going to be using these mini ones. Oh, there is. Yeah, you're right, actually. There is a search bar, but I tell you what, that search bar does nothing for me. Like, I could put 74HC595 in there. It would come up with nothing. Even though I know there's a chip in here called 74HC595, but it won't find it. But, you know, look, there we go. That's what it is called, but it won't find it. I could probably have typed USB in there, actually, if I'm honest. USB. Yeah, okay, it's fine. Whatever, actually. Yeah, so I'd love to change these out for a different type, but unfortunately, I can't. Now, because I'm just putting it all in here, I'm just going to connect it straight to here rather than using anything interesting. Now, I need some resistors. I'm going to use that search functionality, Ash. Oh, look, resistor doesn't come up there. That's good, isn't it? But I do know it's down here somewhere. There we go. I'm just kidding, mate. What about for resistor then? You know, you guys are getting a rare treat. Usually in my videos I'm a lot more composed, and probably my personality is a little bit different. I think that's because there's no one there when I'm doing these videos, and when I'm talking to you it's a bit more conversational. So let's see, resistor, European symbol. Is there a difference between the European one and the American one? Oh yeah, they have the squiggly line, I forgot. I prefer this square box. Now, what are we going to use? I don't know what value we're going to use, but let's go for a 1206, because I know I have some. I'll probably swap them out at some point. Oh, they're switched around, aren't they? That's frustrating. Okay. Let's do that then. Right, I know I can cross the lines on this, and that's fine, because if it's connected it will show me a little dot. But honestly, I find it easier if I just pass through a component, and then I don't get massively confused later on. So I know it looks ugly, I get that, and I could probably put these at a different angle, but because they're switched over, I'd rather just do it like that so I can see where they are. Right. And then we've got ground, that can just go to ground. Let's see, have we got a ground symbol around here? Yes, we have. Connect that up. Wildcard. So what a wildcard is a star, is it? So if I put star resistor in there, will that actually do anything? Because it didn't find resistor, which is the name of the actual library. So let's try, what, star 595. Nope, it doesn't find it. Let's try 74H, capital H. No, 74. No. Okay, and instead I'll go and find it. So, is it in here? So there we are. There's the 74HC595. I can find it. Okay, so star 595 star. Okay, fair enough. I will admit defeat. That does seem pretty useful. Okay, thank you. Still though, resistor. That didn't come up. Oh, that's a slash. Come on now. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. I appreciate the advice there. That's interesting. I did not know that would work. So I don't know what resistors I'm going to use in here yet. We'll figure that out later. What else do we need to connect up? Reset. I'm not going to bother with that just yet. Anything else? Well, we connect up the 74HC595s, I guess, but I don't remember the wiring pattern for those, so I'm not going to worry. Let's just start routing up the board, I guess. You guys and your wild cards. Right, where are we going to start? Let's go from the top left, shall we? Now let's put our width down to there. I want the straight line. So I really like that they route up like this. I'm glad that I organised the LEDs so they did this. However, because oh, look at this, this is so annoying. Let's go down to, there we go. This is going to take ages if I have to keep changing mode to that thing. I mean, it looks better, but boy, let's not do it like that, because honestly, that's going to take a lot longer than I want it to. heaven's sake, look at that. That is ugly as sin. Okay. Do you think that looks awful? It sort of does, but the thing is, they're all going to look awful, and you won't really see them. It doesn't look great, does it? Still, I'm not overly worried. Right, I'm in the wrong place. Am I in the wrong place? There we go. Ah, do you want? I can't show you the auto router. I can't do it. The stream would go down. I guarantee you. Unless someone knows how to stop. Actually, maybe there is a way. Maybe I can do it. Is there a settings bit to stop it using every processor? Tools. Auto router. Like a light edition. Okay, I don't know what that is. Options set, maybe? No. If there was a way to stop it using every processor in the computer to destroy my machine by trying to create a really awful mess, then I would show you what the auto router would make of this. But when I tried to record a video yesterday doing this, it did have a bit of a fit because I was using the auto router. And so I had to stop recording. God, they are getting wider and wider, aren't they? Let's try that again. Okay. I mean, that looks okay, doesn't it? I could do some custom shape traces. You're right. I could do a little curve thing. We could do. God, where is that going to go? Jeez. Okay, I don't particularly like that tool, but you could have nice curves. We can have that one there and just curve it round. It might look nicer. In fact, that does actually look better, Ash. So that was quite a good suggestion. So let's continue with the curve, shall we? Come on, man! Don't hate the auto router. It's got a job too. Right, and you'll see here we've come to a gap. You see this where these ones are all jumped over to these connections here. So that means that's the end of one of these rows, which is nice. So we've got the end of the row is actually 126, I think. So is that right? 126 I'm looking for. So 126, so it means 126 connects to 116, 106. So that should be 116. Probably this one should be 116. Or 26. Okay, do I know how that works? 126. No, I don't think I get what's going on here. So what is that connected to? So that's definitely connected to there. So what LED is that? 86. Okay, so 126 is connected somehow to 86. Oh, of course it is. There it is. I got confused because it was 116. I didn't read further enough down the line there. Decrease the priority and limit assigned CPUs, by the way. Okay, I could do that, but I do risk knocking the stream down. But trust me, the auto router looks horrible. In fact, I can show you. Let's see. Let's get rid of that. I can show you what it did before, because I have a video of it. So we go to LED clock. LED clock 01. God, this is ridiculous. I'm actually watching a video of myself. I'll let you see it. So this is a video of myself. This is VLC. Look at that idiot there clapping. That's to sync the audio. It's nothing weird. Oh, you can't see that, can you? There you go. Now you can see me clapping away. There I am. Yeah, I put myself in the same position. I'm glad I'm not wearing the same t-shirt actually. So yeah, this is what the auto router did. And look at it. It's horrendous. If I wouldn't be happy routing something myself, literally, if I wouldn't be happy using like a manual router, manual handheld thing to carve out the tracks, then I don't like it. There's too many vias there. If I had to drill those out, let's imagine I use something like an X-carve, which probably wouldn't drill the holes all the way through, then I wouldn't be happy with that. So I want to use as little vias as possible. I've got square vias selected there actually. I don't really want that. And I won't be doing, hopefully won't be doing any vias at the moment. We'll see though. So let's go back and make these round, because I think I prefer the round stuff. I think it looks nicer. Where am I going? There we go. If you have two views side by side, pull one of them onto the other screen, then onto the schematic view. Click on the LED and it will light up on the board. Oh, you mean, yeah, in the schematic thing. Yeah, I didn't really think of that. But yeah, you're right, it does. Do you think that's a little bit close? It sort of seems it to me. Maybe let's... Oh God, look. Wouldn't it be nice if there were a rule? There probably is actually some kind of script to do this, where it would automatically just copy your connection over to the next connection and the next connection using the general rough guideline that you've created with that one there. But then maybe I'm giving a free program too much to live up to. I'm very happy with Eagle, I have to say. Do you know, I tried KiCad, and as much as I liked the interface, it looked really, really nice. It was I guess it's just not as developed as Eagle is. Eagle's been around a long time. I think it was a different bit of software before. I don't think it was called Eagle, but you know, it has all the hallmarks of sort of old DOS software that used to be around. It used to be what was it called? I've forgotten what it was called, but I used one a very, very long time ago when I just started looking into electronics, and I had this old computer, and on a floppy disk, believe it or not, there was this software for creating schematics, but not for doing PCBs. Actually, it was just a schematic software. And I didn't know what it was. It was something my granddad had played around with or something, and I was using it. It's just black and green wires, and everything was green. I think I remember, but it had sort of the similar kind of layout. I guess a lot of them do. Or I'm not going there with that, but it sort of feels a little bit like that. Just some of the interface. Not that I mind. It's all right. That's kind of ugly, that one. Still, we're getting there. I say we're getting there. Zooms out. There's a lot to do, and they look ugly. Do you know, it's going to look a little bit like a sunflower or something, isn't it? I haven't used dip trace yet, but I have heard about it. Have you got any info about it? Any kind of tips or anything? We could have a look at it, actually. I could just pull it up, but I'd be more interested to find out what your thoughts are on it yet. So I do like Eagle, though. I mean, this I sort of showed in the last video that I did this. I can't really do it because I've already laid out my LED. I suppose I could just undo it. But this is just the ULP. I'm not sure what the ULP stands for. Universal Line Processing? No, I don't know what it means. Does it actually say if you hover over it? No, it just says ULP. I don't know what it means. But I know what they do. There are scripts and it will organize stuff in your board part here. But there's one called a command draw. And honestly, this must be a treasure trove of little scripts to use. I mean, there's also the... you get bill of materials in here somewhere. And that will print out, give you an HTML list or a text list of everything that's on your board or in your schematic, which is great if you're going to be buying parts. You can sort of tick them off or whatever. Or you could even send them to various companies and they'll use that as a way of figuring out what parts you need. Certainly if you're going to send it to production, you'd want something similar. And you could edit it a bit later if you wanted to put exact values or companies in that the makes of, say, capacitor that you wanted. Oh, actually, I was going to show you something. Oh, come on now. Why are you doing this to me? All right, we'll go with that. Looks fine. I wanted to show you a different board that I've been messing around with, actually. User language program. Thank you very much. Good. So, DipTrace. It's free, and it was the first schematic and PCB designing software I used. I like it, but it could be a bit confusing in the beginning. I think they're all quite confusing in the beginning. Honestly, Eagle did take a while. I didn't watch any tutorials on it either because I found tutorials to be really, really hard to understand. I think a lot of people, when you're looking at Eagle, assume that you have a base knowledge of electronics. And believe you me, I still get things wrong. And you know, there's one really embarrassing thing. I said this when Eric had me on his live stream, that I didn't understand how current worked for a long time. I'm getting embarrassed now talking about it. I didn't understand exactly how current worked, or not. Well, no, not that exactly. I understood what people said about current, and they likened it to a pipe and stuff of water or whatever. And in the vast majority of scenarios, that sort of saying holds true, and you can use that to understand electronics. But I didn't understand what was physically happening. I didn't understand what resistance was like physically. So anyway, I was really embarrassed when I went and saw some of these tech guys where I work, and one of them just laughed at me because I understood current in the wrong way. Anyhow, or at least the path of current through a circuit that I was designing. Still, that was a very embarrassing time. Still, I think when people are doing these sort of tutorials on Eagle, they sort of they assume a base knowledge, and I just didn't have that. I didn't have it at all. The only thing I learnt from was looking at just schematics, rather than not in Eagle, just seeing how schematics work and looking at other people's boards, but not them making them exactly. This is getting... Oh, look, we're going to start going the other way, I think. I think that'll be easier. Yeah, there we go. So I can understand if DipTrace has a bit of a learning curve. That one looks large. They all look pretty large. I mean, it's easy enough to just move them a little bit if I want to. I will go down and neaten them up later on. I'll probably change my my grid size to be something a lot smaller and then move these until I'm happy with them. I certainly want to move this so that the ground plane stretches across, because I don't like to separate them like that very much. I mean, obviously it's connected, but I still don't like it. I don't think it's very good practice to have big areas where the top ground plane's taken away. Okay, let's continue with this. We're going that way, aren't we? I think I was going to comment on something else, wasn't I? I can't remember. Which via? Are you talking about these? That's actually a battery holder. So they're oh, the via thing. Oh yeah, I'm not even worried about that. These are part of the battery holder, but the via, the drill size here, isn't the correct size. But it's fine. I'll just change it later if I need to. I'll be using OSH Park to print it. So I've got their let's see. I have their specifications here. So, oh, actually, there's that one there. So I'll be able to check whether. So it doesn't like the measurement thing. So ignore that. So it'll be able to check whether the wires are too large or too small or whatever. So I'll sort it out later. But I would imagine I'd go for a drill size of 0.8. I think their minimum is 0.6, so it's probably not an issue. But I shan't be putting any wires in just yet anyway. I think this might take a long time. Oh, that is connected already. So that's why I like clicking rat's nest. In fact, we're getting rid of this. Let's delete. No, I just wanted to delete that. Oh, sugars. Oh, I can't. Where is the point to select it? There we go. I don't know whether that's taking it away or not. Let's rat's nest up. Oh man, that's frustrating. No, I can't do it. I don't know how to delete that. We'll figure it out later. In fact, I'm just going to hide the dimension layer. It's not even there. I don't... Oh, never mind. There we go. I don't know what's going on with those dimension things. I'm not quite sure why they are still there. In fact, we're just going to undo that so we can bring back those. I don't know why I can't delete them. Oh, I tell you what. There we go. I think that hash bit is... I don't think it's still there. I think that's... well, that's just a bit of an error, isn't it? That's it isn't actually still there. It is... it's a ghost of some kind, so we'll figure that out another time. I'm not worried about what the DRC says at the moment, really. Anyway, I was going to show you a different thing, wasn't I? I'm glad that... yeah, you're right, Simon. Sometimes things throw you a little bit of a curveball. I think the issue is that Eagle is such a big program. There's so many different options in there, and people use it in really different ways. So I use Eagle in, I don't know, I guess quite a simplistic way. Whereas you'll get someone that will pick up Eagle who's really used to it or used to a different type of design and will design something completely amazing. Ignore this thing. They've put this... you're using it as a freeware thing in there. So I'm just loading up Eagle again to show you something. The examples, in fact. So this is an Arduino Mega, which is pretty insane looking, isn't it? So I mean, that is a very nice looking board. I wouldn't ever be able to create that, but whoever's done it has created all these nice sort of outlines. I don't know how to do a custom outline. That's something I've never tried to do. So people do create insanely good things, and it's just a matter of working through all the little tools and stuff. But it will throw you a curveball if you don't know what you're doing. I'm very comfortable in knowing what I'm doing is correct right now. I know what I know, I guess that's the thing, but I don't know what I don't know. So anyway, I want to show you something else I was working on. So there's this, it's an AC dimmer essentially. So it's going to dim, so this is the circuit here. It's got zero crossing, so you can create a really simple dimmer that just sort of chops the waveform of your AC signal, but you can also create one that would chop it on the peak, so that, well, not on the peak, but you can figure out where the peak is and you can reduce the size of this the waveform. So I'm trying to make one of these, and I picked it up from there's a couple of different sources actually. This one is from InMojo, but I've altered the parts slightly to work with what I want to use. Plus, it's a bit of an old design, so it was using an older optocoupler. So I picked up one that was a bit newer, which is the 4N27M. So that one's a surface mount one, but it used the 4N25, and the 4N27 is same pinout, but sort of better specifications or better tolerances. Not that I'm gonna be using it at about 20 watts, so it's not actually going to do a lot. It's not going to be taking in a lot of current, so I don't need to worry about the tolerances of the triac or anything like that. My traces don't have to be massive or anything. But designing for mains is a hugely different animal, so I'm going to be very, very careful with that. And it's not a tutorial, because I would never want anyone to copy. Why don't these join together? I'd never want anyone to copy me doing anything like that, because honestly I think it could be dangerous. And it might well be. And if it is, you won't see a video about it. This is quite therapeutic, really. But you know, when I'm doing this, I realise how long it's taking, and I think, God, there are so many other things I'd like to do. For instance, this. This is the... If I hold it up to the camera, is it going to focus? Let's see. It's because of that wire there, probably. So, go on camera, please. Oh my God, there we go. Okay, I don't know if you can read that. You might have to tilt your head slightly and sort of get close to the screen, but that's the PCM 2704. So I'm working on this schematic thing right now, or rather the board, but I'd really rather be working on this. But I want to get this. I need to get this thing done because it's been hanging around too long. But this is a USB digital to analog converter, so it's going to be for USB speakers, which is really, really exciting. Just waiting for the speakers to arrive. I wanted some sort of specific size ones, and once they do get here, then we can finish it off. But I'd kind of like to rig it up with some really crap speakers for now, just to make sure it works. But it's such a simple thing to do. I had no idea that chip existed, and then suddenly there it is, the PCM 2704, 2706. There are loads of different types. The PCM 2704 has sort of been retired a bit because the drivers in Windows 10, ta-da, surprise, aren't sort of digitally signed. Is that correct? Oops. There's a new version that conforms properly to the new sort of human interface device protocol that it requires. So it's the PCM 704C, which is the new one, and I wasn't going to pay for it because it's expensive, so I bought the old one because it still works. It just doesn't. You wouldn't get it in a commercial product. You would end up getting the new one in a commercial product, just because it is then guaranteed to work by Microsoft. So, but this one, I have it on good authority that it does still work. And if it doesn't, you know, they're pin compatible, so I'll just buy the new one and swap it out. Oh, so I got contacted today by a company called Verbatim. Now that they'll probably be familiar to you because they make sort of discs, storage medium most of the time. They make CD-ROMs and stuff like that, and they make very good CD-ROMs, and they make very good sort of USB or SSD stuff or archive media, that kind of thing. They've got a lot of expertise in that area, and you would expect them to with a name like Verbatim, which just means an exact copy or exactly as said, or whatever context you're using it in. But I I sent them and did I send them an email ages ago? Yeah, I sent them an email. I say ages ago. It's probably only last week. I sent them an email saying, "Hi, have you got any samples that I could have?" Again, 3D printing. I'm like literally obsessed. Of your 3D printing filament. Oh, where am I going with that? I've gotten carried away. Of your 3D printing filament, I could try out, and I'm sort of angling for well, like 10 meters or something like that, 10 meters of filament, because I wanted to like do a little test and print a load of different models and see what they all look like. See if there are any kind of inherent properties of the filament that come out when you're printing. And of course, there are always inherent properties of filament that come out when printing, but I mean individual to that type of filament. Honestly, these kind of mistakes or these kind of bits where I'm speaking don't generally make it into my videos, so you are seeing a very different side of my presenting ability, which isn't great, I have to admit. Anyway, they contacted me and said, yeah, we'd love to send it through. I think it's because I threatened to do a review. I said, I want to do this video reviewing different types of filament. And they said, yeah, we'll do it. I didn't even mention the other companies that I've got stuff from, but they seem perfectly happy to send some over, and I'm perfectly happy to print with it. See, because, I mean, although I've never seen anyone print with verbatim filament, I did think, you know, they make good stuff. They make good archive quality storage medium. So maybe, you know, they're applying that same ethos to 3D printing filament. Not that it would last a long time, but that it will be an exact copy. Now, I don't know. I mean, I literally don't use any verbatim products because they're more expensive than the cheap things that you get. And they don't do a lot of USB drives. They don't do much of that. They just concentrate on what they're good at, which is storage medium. I know they do USB drives and they do solid state disks, but I think they're perhaps a bit more industry focused than they are user focused. God, this is taking a while. I don't even know what time we started, but I'm going to go till about maybe 10 o'clock. I'm going to have to take a little comfort break, let's call it, in a second, though. I think I've drunk too much of this coffee. You know, I'm listening to music while I do this, but I didn't want to put music on the stream because I didn't know whether you guys would like it. In fact, the last time I did a stream and I put music on, I'm pretty sure I remember someone telling me to turn it off. And I did. You know, I generally do what I'm told. But I'm listening to, what is it? I'm listening to William Orbit, if you know who that is. It's called Pieces in Modern Style. So it's a sort of like, I don't know, is it like a electronic music mixed with dance music? Something like that anyway. But it's nice. It's relaxing. It's on very, very quietly, so I can hear my own voice. Which, you know, is a little bit horrific because it means I concentrate on what I'm trying to say. And I always get it wrong. Do you know, every time I do a video, I'm just waiting for someone to say, "You said this wrong," and I'll go, oh, "Yeah, I did, didn't I?" And I know immediately, as soon as someone points it out, I'm like, yes, I did that wrong. But when I've done the video and I'm all excited about getting it out, I've finished the project and I'm really excited to show you guys. Or excited that, you know, you might have some comments on it, you know, might have some improvements. I think this is going to get difficult here. Or if you guys have done it before, I love it when you guys have already done a project and you know, I've spent ages making this. This is a great example, this USB volume control. Someone pretty much immediately commented on it and said, "Oh, I made one of these a couple of years ago." And I was like, oh, I wish I'd known, you know, because mine would have been so much better if I didn't have to do all the groundwork for it. Which wasn't, I mean, I'm not saying I wrote it from scratch. I used someone else's HID library, that's the Human Interface Device Library, to sort of make it work. But I sorted out that it would be an encoder. I figured out that I needed to count the steps, and every time you plug it in, it has to mute Windows so that it knows it starts at 0, because you can't. It's not two-way communication with these things. So it's an interface device, and it will send one way. So if I'd known someone else had done it, I could have done a Google search, I get that, but I didn't. If I'd known someone else that watched my videos had already done it, then I would have sort of tried to work with them a little bit and sort of make it a little bit of a collaboration. Because I don't really do much of that. A lot of people do collaborations, but you guys, looking at you guys don't really contact me about anything and say, do you fancy doing this with me? I mean, I don't mind. I mean, you guys don't really contact me and ask me for help with anything, and that's totally understandable because as well as I do that I'm learning. Every time you see a video, I just learn how to do it generally. So I'm still working my way through stuff. I never did electronics at school. I never worked with mathematics all that well. So maths is really hard for me. And I find electronics to be very, very difficult in that regard. And so not having done this at university, I didn't really do it at school, I'm still new at it all. So I'm glad you don't really ask my advice on a lot of things unless I've already learnt how to do it. But if you're working on something and you want to collaborate with someone, or you just want someone to buy some bits for you, as long as we work together on it, I don't mind doing that. I can use the channel funds to do that. What's that, Dirk? Dirk says, I'm working on... I mean, I know you guys can read this too, but I don't know if they stay after the stream. I don't know if this is going to stay up, actually. I might get rid of it. I might have sworn. I'm not sure. I'm working on a small benchmark... can't talk. I'm working on small benchmark prints to help tune the printer to the filaments. Interested in testing? Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. That would be really interesting, actually, because I've got this wood filament, and I'm not worried. No, I'm interested in getting different results with it. So it'd be nice to have a print that I could use that would test filaments quite well. I know that with wood fill you can get sort of different looks out of it. So if you print it at a higher temperature, it becomes a bit sort of smoother, or it becomes a bit more shiny, and if you print it at lower temperatures it will look a bit more matte. So it'd be nice to play around, have a sort of standard print that I use for that. Someone has suggested making just a standard cube, but kind of boring, isn't it, a standard cube? And I don't think that really tests your printer too much. I mean, I guess it tests its its axes, and it says whether it's going to deviate from that. It's testing a stepper motor accuracy. But it's not testing, what kind of prints you can get out of your printer. Just whether you're going to get any nice straight lines. It's not going to tell you what kind of finish you're going to get. I find that the Flash print software, the slicer, actually introduces more errors than any mechanical fault in the printer. I think when it starts a new layer, or when it's I don't know, every 20 layers or something, it'll mess up, and generally that's where it starts a new layer. It depends where the point at which the model where it stops and starts a new layer. It will keep doing that, and it will look a bit funny. God, we've got to do the inside. I forgot about that. Let's make sure that we've got all the outside routed first. So, I mean, this looks a little bit confusing now because of this gap here, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure why there's a gap, honestly, when all of the rest look just fine. Why is that? I mean, I'd have to go through. Let's do that thing that Ash suggested, actually. Let's see. Right, so I've clicked on the... Oh, God, I'm moving the LED. Hang on a minute. Right, so I've selected the LED. Maybe it's not on screen. Okay, Ash, what am I clicking here? I'm trying to select the right LED. There we go. I've done it. It's okay. Right, I want to see what this one is there. So that is I'm going to click on this one in here just to see what to start with. So LED 27, that's cool. Let's have a look at LED 27 and find out why it's not connecting to the others like I think it should. So there's 27. 37's down there. What's on the inner ring here? 27, 67. Okay, that's over there. Okay, we're getting there. No. Oh, for heaven's sake, what is this one? 86. 86. So that one. Okay. It all looks like it's connected up properly. 85. 70. Oh, I see. Well, that is interesting. What number is that? LED 74. 75. 7515. Right, you can see it on here. Let's find out why they don't connect in the same way, in the way that I would expect them. So 75 and 15. So they're on the same row there. That's why they connect across like that. But let's see why. I mean, it's probably just the end of the run and I'm being stupid, but 26. Come on now. 26 and 85. If they're not on the same row, then that will be the reason. Someone's probably, I can't see chat at the moment because I'm looking at the other screen, sorry. What was it, 26 and 85? My memory is terrible. 26, 85 is there. Okay. They're not on the same row. That's why. It's probably an odd number of LEDs, so that will be the reason. But that's going to make that really annoying still. Let's get this routed a little bit more. Where does this one want to go? Okay, so that is, those are the connections that it needs. So all of those need to be connected together. So that's the other side of the board. I think we're going to do those last. Oh God, you know, right now, look at it. I honestly don't know where to begin. This is where I got to before, and I just sort of, I didn't give up. I just started worrying about how long this was going to take. I'm just going to do some of the simple ones for now. I don't want to sort of scare you off. I know that one connects to there, so we can do it really simply. But isn't it? It's daunting. It really is daunting. Oh look, we can do a nice curve there. That's good. Do you know what? We're just going to do this in a little bit of a creative way. We're not going to worry too much about. We can always move them later. I just want to make sure they're all hooked up. This is awful. Why are you? It's just different. You know, I put these big crosshair. I was going to point at the screen then. You can see the big crosshairs going across the screen. You can have that on or off. I much prefer to have it on because I can see if I go in a straight line exactly where it's going to go, which is really good for routing like that. Where are we going with this one? I'm going to go there. Right, now be honest, anyone watching, has this gotten boring yet? Because I'm having quite a good time actually, just having a little chat, but boy, I'm not sure I'd be able to get away with watching this long time. Long time? Long time. What do I mean? Long term, not long time. That's definitely wrong. Oh, I can definitely do this one really easily. Let's see. Can I go straight down there? I can. But we've talked about some other things, so that's all right. We haven't just stuck to the old LED stuff. And we've looked at some things that are a little bit more interesting, like 3D printing. Where are we going with that one? I mean, this is starting to get messy now. But that's okay, because the messier it gets, as long as we've got everything wired up, um, as long as we've got everything, yeah, as long as we've got everything wired up, then I can start making rational decisions about where some of these tracks should go. And I'm going to route as much as I possibly can on the top side of the board first, and then I'm going to go to the bottom side. You know, I work for a university, and they have an electronics department there, and I volunteer at the electronics club. And they have these technicians there that don't really do anything in their own time very much because work kind of consumes the stuff they do with electronics. And one of them told me that the best thing to do is to route from the left to the right. Is that right? Oh no, I think you choose certain signals. Yeah, so you choose signals and then you go from left to the right or up and down, and you choose which ones are going to do that. And that's how you should route your board. But either they don't mess around with this stuff, or they've got a lot more patience than I have, because I literally can't think that way. All I do is I pick out the really simple signals first, and then I worry about the more complex ones. And that is honestly how I approach these. So look, there's a simple one. I can do that one very easily. We can just very simply bring that straight down there. Done. Then I'm going to look at the difficult ones later. So I'm just going to catch up on the comments. In fact, no, I'm not. I really need to take a couple of minutes break, if that's all right. I'll be back shortly. Let me find the OBS thingy. Okay, so I'm going to click that, so my head disappears, and I've put a little sign up, and then I will see you in 5 minutes. I haven't got any audio because I'm going to just turn the mic off, but less than 5 minutes. I'll be back very shortly. Sorry, that was probably more than 5 minutes, wasn't it? Because oh, hello. Why am I overpressing that? Hopefully, some of you are still here. I don't know though. You're welcome to leave if you didn't like it. So, right, have I got a USB I can stick this into? Let's see. I've got something to show you. It's a USB based thing. Is that no? It's not on. Hang on. I'm gonna have to go underneath the desk. Ugh. Not sure what's going on there. There we go. God, I'm underneath the desk now. Why am I still playing the audio? I probably should turn the mic off. I'm not going to though. There we go. Right. That's plugged in. And it's on. Good. Okay. Right. Don't judge me for this because this is very poor electronics I'm about to show you. And there's no fuse on this. Well, there should be really. I mean, I'm not pulling that much current. You'll see in a second. I'm just going to put it together. I know you can't see anything I'm doing right now, but that's the point. It's meant to be a surprise. Oh, Whisper was a bit creepy. So, this is it. The light bulb that I told you about. So this is what it's going to be. It's connected to a USB cable. How much can I pull that? So we've got it connected up to one of these USB extenders. And this is the 3D printed light bulb. It's in 3 pieces, so that it hides the electronics that are inside the super amazing electronics. I'll give you a little close-up. Can you focus, camera? Oh, there we go. Yeah, look, it's basically just a bunch of resistors. It's some enamel wire hooked up to some LEDs. Let's get this stream so I can see it. Let's see if I can pull these out now without... There we go. So, is that going to blind the camera? It might do. We might have to put it behind something. So those are you going to focus on those? If I put my finger there, maybe it will focus on my finger instead. I'll put my finger in front of my face. This is really awkward. There we go. Focus on my hand. So you can see they're just SMD LEDs. Those ones that I showed you earlier, just wired onto the end of these enamel wires, and then hooked around to this thing. And they sort of slot inside the bulb. A little bit worried about shorting this out when I do this. It's probably okay. And then that section fits on there. And then we've got the base, which hides this little circuit board that I've knocked up. Could be a lot smaller than that, but it isn't. It could use SMD resistors. But I didn't want to print something. And then you get this. It's just a little cute little desk bulb, and it will be painted grey. That's a little bit of a sneak peek. I wasn't actually going to show that, but you know, I saw it when I was downstairs, so I thought I'd grab it. I got a coffee as well, another whiskey coffee. So anyway, let's carry on, shall we? I can't remember if I was talking about anything in particular. Did I tell you that I got... Do you remember, I had this robot, oh god, like literally, you know, I think I told you before how I start making projects and then I end up getting distracted. Well, this robot board here, can you see the make? BQ, actually turn it the right way around. There you go, the BQ Zoom BT328. Now that is a little Bluetooth connected Arduino Uno compatible. Now what's cool about it is you can reprogram it via Bluetooth, but also it comes from this company called BQ that I didn't know really existed. Now I think they're Germany based. Yeah, they're based in Germany. But if you go on their website, they make a bunch of cool stuff. They make mobile phones, they make little robots and educational sort of toys or tools, and they also, it turns out, do 3D printing filament. Now, a viewer sent me that one, and it's really awesome. I've been using it for playing with robotics. I haven't gotten that far. It doesn't look very pretty, does it? But I've actually learnt how to move it around with a mobile phone and stuff. So that's cool. And because of that board, I'm now making my own sort of AVR programmer with a Bluetooth module. I'm using the HC05 to do that. And I'll be throwing up a video so you guys can learn how to do it too. It's not very complex, so it's not something that you can't do in a couple of hours or whatever. It'll be a really simple project. But they do 3D printing filament, and so I recently just found a company that sells it on Amazon, and I've picked some of it up, and it comes in a really, really nice box. It's very impressive. So I will be using some of that soon. Now, you can probably see here we've got this trace is going all the way over here. I'm just immediately changing subject. This trace is going all the way over here, and this one wants to go over here. So I'm tempted to put this on the bottom side of the board and have vias, but if I do that, it's going to increase the number of vias that I'm going to need by probably 2, honestly. So what we're going to do is instead, oh, we were using curves, weren't we? I forgot. This one? Yeah. We're going to use these to bridge the over here, and then we'll use one single via off. I'd love to be able to point on the screen while I'm doing this. We'll use one single via up here. Ooh. Can I not just draw a via without connecting? Oh, yes I can. I'm being an idiot. So we'll use one. God, that's massive, isn't it? I think I can get away with 6 and a round one. I can get away with a lot smaller than that, I'm sure. But we'll just put a single via there, and then on the bottom side of the board go over with our trace over there. So I think that's what I'm going to decide to do with that, because there seems to be a lot of these where I'm having to bridge just around here. Well, not bridge, but go around components. Oops. I haven't finished that one off. There we go. BQ is based in Spain. That would make sense, actually, based on who sent the board to me. The filaments are good, are they? As their printers are. I did not know they did printers. I might have to look that up. I wonder if they do any that have, or that work with AB. Oh, that's interesting. That actually looks a lot nicer, doesn't it? Just connecting to there. I think we're going to do that. Which isn't the same as I've done with everything else, so I'm going to have to undo it because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So let's just go down. Oops. Yeah, that's interesting. I might contact them, see if they can recommend a distributor, or maybe not send one to me because they're very expensive bits of kit, but maybe they could do a discount or something like that. That'd be really nice. Yeah, actually, I have seen that automatic via placement, but I prefer to just put the via in myself and name it, and that way it links up the signals. Just because, I mean, I could move it around afterwards, actually. It'd probably be a bit of a better workflow, but... Oh, hello, we've got a straight line there, that's good. But I'll figure that out when we get to that point. I'm just going to do all the easy traces first, and then... oh, hello. Look, I've already done it. I've already messed up. I didn't want to do that, did I? Not yet, anyhow. I'm on the wrong one. There we go. Oh yeah, we've got to start going up now. Check out Thomas Ladderer. That's, yeah, Ladderer on YouTube. He now works for BQ and reviews 3D printers. Good channel. Cool. I'll have a look him up. There's a dude, in fact, I'll show you. There's a dude on, sorry. Like I think I'm young or something, like I'm 32 years old. Can't be saying dude these days, but there's a dude, I can't stop saying it. He's called the 3D Printing Nerd. This is him. Do you know, I just realised the colour's off on this camera. And I support him on Patreon. I support quite a few people on Patreon, actually. Can I get a bit, can you see his face? I don't know, it's very difficult. The features aren't very clear on here. Anyway, he gave out their model of himself. He got himself 3D scanned, and he sent it out to not that old, actually. I'm not that far behind you. He sent it out to all of his patrons, and so we could print it. And it was quite an interesting experience printing a person. It's certainly, I mean, I printed a head, or like from the shoulders, a bust of someone, and it was difficult to sort of balance quality with speed. I mean, and also the heat of the 3D printer will sort of ruin some of the details occasionally. So the filament will ooze a bit. So printing him was quite hard. So I used the best filament I have. Honestly, it's the best filament I've got. Is this glow in the dark stuff, and it's by a company called Excelvan. And it's sort of a no-name brand, I think. I don't think Excelvan create their own filament. In fact, they sell loads of different things. But it extrudes the best that I've got. Absolutely the best. It's not the strongest stuff. The strongest stuff I have is this clear sort of, well, it's not translucent filament. Is the strongest stuff I have. I mean, it really is strong. But the glow in the dark stuff is really, really good if you want to get fine detail. And it's not just the temperature I printed at, because I've tried other filaments lots and lots with different temperatures. I've got this black flash forge stuff which prints really well. It doesn't have any defects on the surface, but it won't give you very fine detail at loads of different types of temperatures that I've tried. So it's an interesting filament. So if the BQ one's good, then I'll be very, very pleased. I'm hoping the Form Futura one's going to be good, because they've sent me rather a lot, 3 kilograms of filament, so I'll be able to do a proper test with that. Unfortunately, I don't have a very good build area on my printer. It's only 14 centimeters by 14 centimeters. Now, I don't consider that a problem. I just consider it a challenge when printing larger objects. It just means you have to cut it up. It just creates a few extra steps. There are printers. The 3D Printing Nerd has got these printers called G-Max printers, and they are massive. I mean, we're talking like build plates like that. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can. Like huge, big enough to print my head easily. And I'd love one of those, but I don't have the space for that kind of printer. I looked at I like the flash forward printers. They seem quite well established, and because they don't look like you have to put them together, I think that's one of the reasons I liked it, the flash forward finder, because it didn't look like you had to make it yourself. So crumbs. The Dreamer looked quite good, but it was a little bit out of my price range. It's a dual extruder one, but it has a larger build platform, so that would have been nice. Saeed, why are you saying them ages? How old are you, Saeed? Who's 38? Oh, I thought you were saying you were 38, actually. I don't know who is 38. I must have missed that in the chat if that was there. Simon says ColorFab is the best filament I've used. The PHA/PALA mix is amazing. I'll have to look at that. I haven't spoken to ColorFab about getting a sample, but I think they sell samples on their website, so I'm happy to buy them. I've only ever contacted a company if they don't have a sample for sale. So if they won't sell 10 meters to me, then I don't want to invest 40 quid or whatever in a reel. So, but I think ColorFab do sell samples, so I'll do that and see. And Ashley says I've used Form Futura. Still do, tends to print at a lower temperature, at least on my Ultimaker 2. Well, that's good. They also have some really interesting looking filaments, so I'll be trying some of those out. They've got a flexible one, but I didn't ask for it. Maybe they'll send it to me another time. So I'll look at that. The flexible stuff really interests me, but not as much as the clear stuff. Oh, look at this. You remember how I was like, oh, I'm doing the easy ones first, and then I've just gone ahead and done these, but we're going to get rid of those because I wanted to do this loop thing all the way around first. Oh no, actually I'm 32. I think I'd look pretty good for 38, but I'm 32. I'm not 38. Oh, we're going to have to go the other way now. That one looks ugly. Never mind. We'll sort that out another time. Again, I'm going to move these around after it's done. I just want to make sure it's all in there and rooted. I'm not sure how much we'll get through. I'm probably only going to go for another half an hour on this because I have some other things I need to do tonight. Oh, do you know? Oh, look at that. How embarrassing. You know, I kind of wanted to do like a 3D printing stream at some point, just because I thought it'd be interesting to have. I've got a couple of different webcams, and I could put one on the 3D printer so you could see what was going on. But the bit of a problem with that is, though, the stream would have to be easily 2 hours long in order to see one thing, and it would be kind of like watching paint dry. I'd have to get something for us all to talk about at the same time as doing that. Oh, this is where it gets a bit awkward because it's trying to do it on a... There we go. So Johan's 38. Simon says, "Are you talking about color fab, Simon?" Yeah, I'm good. I think I'll pick some up. I really do want to do a little sort of comparison of 3D filaments. So, and I've got quite a range now. I've got 1, 2, 3. I bought some. Is it Hatchbox? I bought some of that recently. 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 different companies' filaments, so that should make for a reasonable sort of comparison. I don't want to do too many because it would just make it longer. If I can figure out a way to sort of grade them, then I will, and then it can sort of match up with anything I do in the future. But you know, the sort of grading things like that, it's almost a bit pointless. A long time ago, I made an app, and it was a food reviews app. This is when I was just learning how to do apps and stuff, and I sort of made this app that anyone could go on and review somewhere they'd eaten. You'd find it on your GPS thing. You'd sort of plop a little thing on the map and say, this is this place. You'd write in the name or whatever and do your review, and you'd give it numbers out of 10. And I realised how completely arbitrary those numbers are, and they mean almost nothing. And so I won't be reviewing filament like that. I think I'll do it with images and maybe give it a grade based on a certain attribute, but I won't give it an overall thing. I think that's slightly unfair because I think printers will print filament in very different ways. My printer, for example, is the Flashforge Finder, and it's a single extruder printer. It doesn't have a heated bed, and it's got a relatively small build platform, 14 centimeters cubed. So you know, it's limited as to what I can test with it. So I can't go and say, well, you know, so-and-so's filament isn't good or whatever. All I can say is it's not really appropriate for this scenario, or not as appropriate as another kind of filament. So I will try and keep my review to my personal experience, unless something really pisses me off about the filament, in which case I will certainly make that known. I'm not going to... Oh, look at that. Look at that there. Oh, okay, let's see that one again. I will certainly be very honest when looking at these filaments. I think we're going to have to come down. That's better. No. Okay, it's snapped to there. I'm just going to leave it. Let's go up a little bit. We can probably zoom out a bit. I don't know how much that's my face is covering all of that. Probably is a little bit. Simon says this is AOL, age, sex, location. Do you know, I don't know if we never had AOL when I was growing up. I honestly didn't use the internet until I was in my final year of sixth form. So that would have been 2001. I didn't use the internet until 2001. Not for anything important. I think I'd seen Netscape Navigator in my last year of GCSEs, but I didn't see a use for the internet at all. I knew nothing about it, and I certainly didn't think there was any value in it. So I didn't see, and I didn't have the internet when I was at university. We had the internet in the university, on the computers in labs and things, but geez, I didn't get an internet connection until my final year, maybe even after I graduated. When I was still living in student digs, I don't think I had the internet for a long time. So I used what was it? Microsoft Messenger? Was that it? Don't know why I can't remember, but MSN Messenger, that's what it was called. So I used that, and I think everyone probably pretty much just had the same experience of online chat. You're just fascinated by the people that you're talking to and where they might be from. I could probably get stats on where you're all from. I've no idea how to do that. I don't generally look at YouTube stats. I had a look to see what the male-female ratio was, just because I felt, in fact I still do it. I say hi guys at the start of every video out of habit now, and I sort of feel like maybe that's alienating some people, because I said I help out this electronics club at the university. There are 4 women, female students that go to that, which is great. We're not going to root that one. Let's take that one away. But the vast majority are male, and I assume that's sort of that is connected with how people are educated for GCSEs and A-levels and that kind of thing. And so more people end up being interested in electronics and engineering because that's what they're conditioned to like, and certainly what society tells them they should like. But female engineers are, they are a thing, and I'm very encouraging with it. The female students that are in the electronics club tend to be a little bit smarter than the boys, honestly. They certainly have a different work ethic, and I don't think that's actually representative of all boys. I think that's a bit of a generalization, but they have a different experience of education. They're sort of is that going to cross there? Yeah, it's not quite what I wanted to do, but I would like it if female engineers were a bit more visible, so that more women would get into electronics, into hacking, into making, into stuff like that. I mean, there's you guys will probably have seen her on YouTube, but there's someone called Jerry Ellsworth. She's like a genius, and I sort of have there's people that I want to be like, so because they're like really cool and good at making stuff. So you've got Bill Nye the Science Guy. I'd love to be like Bill Nye the Science Guy. It'd be incredible. He's really, really intelligent and he's a great speaker. Or there's Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's very, very clever and he's great at explaining things. That would be brilliant. But Jerry Ellsworth, she is like incredible. She's a great storyteller. If you watch her videos, she's got a great way of sort of settling you into a subject and explaining pretty complex ideas. She was looking at this scanning electron microscope. She just picked up a broken one and she fixed it, and I was like, what the hell? Very, very clever lady. Right, where are we going with these signals now? Okay. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Jerry Ellsworth is one of the people that sort of got me really interested in learning more about electronics, and not just being completely satisfied with what I know, because I am relatively satisfied with what I know. I can do an awful lot. I know an awful lot about programming in Arduino, in the Arduino IDE. I know an awful lot about programming in general, but that's my background in computing and web development. I did a lot of JavaScript. I learned a little bit of C++ and Java when I was at university. So I can deal with that, but electronics is tough. Really, really tough to understand if mathematics isn't your strong point. So she was really quite inspiring. And I think there should be more female engineers to inspire a new generation. I'm speaking like I'm really old. We've already had this discussion where I'm not actually all that old. Who do you guys watch on YouTube? I mean, obviously me right now. But who else do you watch? Probably Eric, I imagine. But I'd love to know who else you're watching. What else are you like looking at while you're waiting for the stream to catch, or while I'm waiting for the stream to catch up? So you hear that question. I can tell you a few more of the ones that I watch. So I watch the Hacksmith. I watch most of his videos. I don't watch all of everybody's videos, really. I quite like gaming stuff on YouTube, so it's nothing to do with electronics, but you've got to have something to take yourself away from these things occasionally. So I watch a fair few gaming videos. There's a guy called Christopher Odd. He's got a great voice. He's got like really dulcet tones. It's nice to listen to, and he makes interesting decisions in games. So I think actually we're pretty good there. I watch Julian, is it Lillet or Illet? He's very good. He's very clever. Sometimes I watch his videos and I know something already, and I'm like, yes, come on, I already know that. But then he'll, in the space of 2 minutes, figure it out just by looking at the data sheet. He'll know what to do. So he's very, very good and analytical that way. He's got a lot of experience behind him, and he was selling things online when I didn't even think people did that. He was accepting weird payments and stuff. Oh, so I watched Julian as well. I watched the, do you know, EEV blog. I really like, but I mainly watch it for the teardowns and the post bags. I don't really watch. There's some things he does with oscilloscopes that honestly is way beyond me, because I don't have an oscilloscope that's as fancy as his. I've got this. What is it? I've got a Tektronix one which doesn't work. It's broken, and I honestly have not been able to figure it out how to fix it. And I've got, what is it? A Gould one. This Gould oscilloscope, which is a digital one. So, but it's really old. I mean, I got it for free because it was that old. But yeah, he does a lot of cool stuff. BigClive.com is amazing. He's the king of Poundland LEDs. You're right, Simon. Well, first off, I like listening to his voice. He's got a great accent, but he's very clever, and he doesn't pretend to know things, which is good. Recently, a guy commented on one of my YouTube videos. Which one was it? I'm going to have to look it up for you. But he was a little bit rude. I think he called me stupid or something. I'm just going to look it up. I don't want you to go and say anything to him, obviously. That's not what I'm saying. But I would like to point something out about how some people expect a little bit more from you than perhaps I'm capable of. So if I go to community comments, what was the dude's name? Oh, I can't see it. Maybe he's deleted them. Or maybe it's just further down. Actually, there's no problem in you seeing this. Where is this dude? Why can't he lower? Oh, I don't know. Oh, here it is. Keith Grove. I don't know if this is disrespectful to show this. why doesn't this twit work out what he's going to say before starting the recording? Anyway, he was kind of rude, or at least I thought it was rude. So I responded and said, you know, blah, blah, blah. Less of the name calling, please. He didn't realise it was my video. Anyway, I tried to get him not to do name calling because I find that a bit childish. It's unnecessary. He could have just tried to help and offer up some advice. But instead, he said, I've been in business and I've worked for these big companies and, I know how to present and you did it really badly. Well, what video was that actually? It might well have been bad, I'm not sure. So it was about, unboxing of a Maplin. It was a Raspberry Pi. It's 3 years old, this video. Anyhow, he sort of said, you were a bit shit. I have actually sworn now, I'm not sure if I can leave that on. And I sort of said, well, fine, but it was meant to be an unboxing where I don't know anything about the product and stuff. But people have these high expectations if you put a video on YouTube. And BigClive.com, he doesn't care. Like, he'll say, I don't know what that is, and then figure it out. Or he'll just say he doesn't know what it is and then just pontificate about it for a bit and then come up with a possible solution. And it doesn't have to be the real thing. And I really like that. I love his little experiments too. He's really, really cool. He's done a lot of sort of messing around with silicon and doing molds. He even got loads of like kids' toys and pink things. There's one specific pink thing I'm referring to, but I'm not going to talk about it. But you'll have to go back through his videos to find out about it. Let's see, what else is everyone watching? You've got Ben Heck. Do you know what? I don't watch the Ben Heck show. I mean, maybe I should, but it just seems like a bit of an investment to get into it. He's quite the personality, isn't he? And I think you have to get past that in order to be interested. I did watch one, and I was really interested in it. He had this dynamo thing, and it was like one of these push torches. The ones where you sort of squeeze and it will generate some electric current. Well, he wanted to see if he could charge his phone while walking, so he created this whole big device. But it's sort of hard to follow along when you don't have all the same tools that he has in order to do the same experiments. But he is very clever, I'll give him that. And he's got a lot of people behind him on his channel, which is great. I'm just reading the comments, sorry. Side says, have you considered the new Sigilant stuff? Well, actually, I definitely cannot afford an oscilloscope. I've already got one, and it's fine for everything that I do. I mean, I'm just looking at power supply noise or looking to see timings of a chip or something. I'm never doing anything too in-depth. It would be nice to have a new one, something smaller. Mine's like this long, this deep rather, by this high, and it's got this awful like great panel on the front with a tiny little display. I'm looking at it now. Every time I look back there, that's what I'm doing. A tiny little panel on the front and like loads of knobs and dials and things, and it's more difficult to use. This one does have I'm looking at it, you can't see it. It does have capture on it, but it's like 5-second capture or something, so it'd be great to have something good. But again, they are expensive for what I'd use it for, so using my free one would probably be best. Simon says, what is a good cheap scope? I'm just using a multimeter and guesswork at the moment. Do you know, Simon, multimeter and guesswork will get you a long way. No one I don't think most people doing electronics, certainly not this kind of electronics that I do, you don't need a meter. But the best kind of one you could get is probably just an analog scope, secondhand from eBay. I mean, generally they'd be okay for everything you want to do, but you can get analog, you can get secondhand digital ones really, really cheaply. I've seen a few, but because they're all roughly the same as the one that I got given for free, there's no need for me to buy one, so I'm not going to. Right, let's continue on, shall we? Let's see if I can loop this one around to here. No. No, I like that. We're going to leave it there, and then we're going to delete that other wire. It's interesting to hear the things that you're you're watching on YouTube at the moment. Ah, Johan, that's very nice. Unfortunately, I'm a really bad presenter though, so you know, I don't know if that's really true. He was a little bit mean, that guy. I think I'm going to have to give up on these curves. They're not really going to work for everything anymore. In fact, I think it's a bad idea to put a curve there, and it's a bad idea to put a curve there. So let's start with the normal routing. We're going to have to stop soon though, I think. How long has it been going for? So we're on 2 hours and 16 minutes, apparently, which is quite a long time, isn't it? Okay, we're going to go to 10 o'clock, so 15 minutes time for me. It might be a bit longer. I don't know how long the stream delay is for you guys. We'll get a few more of these lines done. Oh, do you know what? There's an easy one here that we're going to just do because we can. Where is it? That one there. No, that one. Look at that. Do I want to do that? I don't think I do, actually. I think we should do the... I did say I was going to do all of the top side of the board first, didn't I? Where did I get it? Said says, where did I get this free stuff from? Well, because I work for a university, they've got like rooms of old stuff they had from like the 1980s, and they either get rid of it or they give it out on long-term loan. Now I can't technically keep it because it has to be disposed of correctly. So in like a year, I'll give it back and they'll get it disposed of by a proper company or something. So that's where I got that from. Other times, you know, you can just sweet talk someone into giving you their old scope or something like that. It's not out of the realms of possibility to find someone that's got something you need. You know, you can sort of barter with people and trade. Do you know, recently, I don't know if he'll be watching actually, but a guy called Zach Silver, is a student, a secondary school student, GCSEs, doing a GCSE project, contacted me recently, and he asked me if I would 3D print something for him. And I said yes, but I told him he had to talk to his parents and he had to talk to his teachers and say that he's contacted me and all that kind of stuff, just to cover my own back, you know. And God, that looks ugly, doesn't it? There's a guy called Lewis who 3D printed something for me. Do you remember I made this this bloody awful idea that never really worked out? It was called this Sun Safe. I don't know if it's around here somewhere, is it? No, I think I packed it away. It's called the Sun Safe. Anyway, I asked someone to 3D print something for me, and he did it for me. And so I thought, you know, I'm going to repay that favour. And so I 3D printed this this thing for this kid. He hasn't said thank you, but you know, I feel like karma's on my side. So sometimes you'll get people that will want to pay it forward. So hopefully, I think you find someone that wants to give you free stuff. Oh God, I forgot to bring these on the board. I don't know where they're going to go. I think the USB is going to have to go up there. Let's do that now. Wouldn't it be nice to have a vertical one of those, actually? I've not seen one before, but I'll have to move that off a little bit. There we go. It'd be nice to have a vertical one so it would stand up, but we'll figure it out. It's okay. Andre says, why don't you flip LED 121? Sorry, Andre, I got a bit behind there. Let me have a look. So LED 121, I can. You're right. I can flip that one and pop it back exactly where it was. The problem with flipping some of these other ones is because they're at a slight angle. Because I've used the user language programming script to place them all for me in a sort of a perfect circle. They do it in angles of degrees. So that straight one that I can actually flip. I don't know if, let's have a look at the properties and see if it says angle 30. So I can flip them if I know the exact angle. I can give it the opposite, just turn it around. So that is a very good suggestion. Thank you very much, Andre. Look at that. That is much nicer. Definitely a good suggestion. Let's see, I would have just not, I probably wouldn't even have noticed that I could do that. So thank you very much. Let's go out here and come down. What do I have to do? Let's see, where did that want to route that to? Oh yeah, I see. Oh mate, I don't mind you hijacking the chat, that's perfectly fine. I'm struggling to keep up anyway. I get distracted by all these signals and I've got to route them. Plus, I'm not talking all the time, so it's good if someone else is like keeping the chat occupied. I can't remember if I've got anything else to show you. I think I do, you know. Let's have a look. That's the LED panel. So it was the AC dimmer. I'm sure there was another one. In fact, I'm going to show you this window so you can see. You can have a look at the. Those are all the projects I'm working on or have worked on. Some of them are libraries, so you can ignore those folders. But SPL? Oh no, that's still ongoing. I sort of haven't done that. I swear to God, I was meant to do this. So I set it up with what was it? An LM386 I did the microphone with, but this is the 741 op amp that I was going to use, and I've never done a video about it. I haven't even breadboarded it up. I've just done the schematic, and I was meant to eventually sort of show you. So sorry, I haven't done that. I did say when I did the 386 one that I was going to do another. What was the? Was it one of these? Oh, I don't remember. Oh, this one didn't work. Well, it did work. It just the placement of the boost converter basically was crap. It didn't do what it was meant to do. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to show you really. dB meter? No. The audio cube was pretty complex. Frequency counter. Did I ever do that? Oh, I did. It looks terrible though, doesn't it? That's early. I don't remember when I made that one. Oh, the SAMD21, is that? Oh yeah, this was... Do you know, I don't know if I ever showed that off. This was... do you know what the SAMD21 is? You're not going to answer, are you? Of course. You're like 20 seconds behind me or whatever. So the SAMD21 is the same chip that's on the Arduino Zero. I love that board. It was great. Well, actually, I didn't really have an Arduino Zero. I had the Arduino Zero from Arduino.org. So it's the other side of the argument, basically. So the two sides of the company split up, but they released their Zero first. I got one for review. So I liked it, and I decided I would. I wanted to make my own, and I wanted to make this board at 60 millimeters by 60 millimeters, roughly. Look, you can see the size down here. So I knocked out this board, and I've never made it. I've never done it, and I even bought the chips, and they were like £6 each. I think they were quite expensive, and I bought two, obviously, just in case anyone made a mistake. But I haven't sent it off to make. I don't know why I haven't done it, but you know, I went to quite a lot of effort to put this together. I really should do it at some point. Oh no, I remember why. I remember why I didn't make it. I wanted to get what's the thing called? It's an Atmel ICE. It's the programmer for these family of chips, and like everything else, but they seem to go up in families. So you can get these an Atmel programmer that will do 80 megas and stuff, but it won't do above that, but it will do below. And then you'll get a programmer above that will do the ARM family chips up to a certain point, but it will program everything beneath it. And then this new chip, it needed a new one, so it couldn't cope with the previous one. I can't remember what the previous one was called, but it needed the Atmel ICE to program it. And then it would still program everything below, but you needed this ICE, and it was 35 quid. And I did, at the time when I was doing this, I didn't have the spare cash for that. I mean, electronics is quite expensive after a while, so I didn't have the cash for that, and so decided not to continue the project. And I don't even know if I told you guys about it. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't end up bothering. But what does that connect to? Oh, that's connecting to one of the resistors that I've left down there somewhere. Let's find them. But anyway, that would have been a really fun one to play around with, but I never did work on that. Side asks, yeah, thanks, Andre. I know that you can just keep right-clicking and spinning them around, but if it's an odd angle, it won't do that properly. I can demo it, actually, I think. See? Or I say see, but actually, that looks all right. Oh no, see, can you see there, look, even though I'm just right-clicking to spin this chip. Sorry, Andre said that I can rotate 180 degrees or multiples of 90, defined on the rotate tool, and it will remain in the same angle. Now, the default action is when you right-click, it will do the automatic rotate around the point. But because the rotation point isn't exactly in the dead center, or it doesn't seem to be, you get a slight offset, which is very annoying. So you can't really do it unless you have these sort of straight ones or ones that aren't too much of an angle. So it's a little bit weird. Is it JTAG? What is that called? It's not JTAG. I tell you what, let me show you something. I can't remember what it's called. We'll have to look it up. I don't think it's JTAG though. Hang on. I'm just digging around in parts bins just to find something to show you. It's not that. Anyway. I think it's SWD. I think that's actually what it's called, an SWD connector. So I'm just going to pull one of these out now. So on most of your boards that we all, well, in fact that we all have, we have this. I can't see whether it's focusing. Hang on. We have these. So these are just general. What is it? 0.125 pitch or something, pin headers. Now for this SWD connector, which I'm pretty sure it's called, it has these, so I can probably show you the difference. So that's the difference. They're really, really tiny. So even if I wanted to, I don't actually have anything I could connect to those. So I need to pick up a different programmer, but I didn't want to for 35 quid, so I never did. It's I think it's definitely SWD. Let's have a look. SAMD21 programming header SWD. Yeah, the SWD interface, I think it is. Yeah. Cortex single wire debugger. Well, I hope that's the case now that I've said that. But you know me, you've seen me get things wrong plenty of times, so it may not actually be the case. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Let's have a look at this board again. Oh no, actually, I'm going to wrap things up because it's 10 o'clock and I've got some other stuff to do tonight before going to bed. So thank you everyone for watching. It's nice to hang out with you actually. I'm glad it wasn't, you know, I haven't done these sort of streams. There I am, look. I haven't done these streams very much because I feel there's a little bit of pressure involved in doing them, and I always feel like there's pressure to get things right or have a structure and a plan. And you know, Eric from Make Me Lab, he has like an awesome live stream that has this great sort of flow to it, and he has like an like an amazing structure of stuff, and he does some research beforehand and everything. And mine are like, hey guys, I'm just gonna do a little bit of whatever. And so yeah, so I feel a little bit of pressure to perform. No, I don't mean it like that. That's a bit weird, isn't it? Anyway, so it's been nice hanging out, and we'll do this again soon, I guess, because I haven't got very far with this board. We've mainly been chatting the whole time. So the next thing I'll probably do, what did I want to do? We've got this LED board. There was something else I was making. Does anyone remember? Oh yeah, the USB speakers. We're going to be doing that, and that will involve a little bit of 3D printing and stuff. So that will be fun. And eventually we'll get this LED board done. But I think I need some time, maybe during the bank holiday. It's going to be a bank holiday here for Easter. I've got quite a lot of time off, so I'm going to spend some time doing projects and things and doing some 3D printing. And we've got the micro bit to play with as well, which will be nice. So I will speak to you all soon, or at least I'll put out a video soon, and hopefully I'll get to chat to you in the comments or whatever. And if you've got any questions or whatever, then feel free to put them in the like Google Plus thing or on Twitter. I'm on Twitter most of the time because it goes right to my phone, so if you want to get hold of me, you can do that. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys soon.